Welcome to Hawks Bay. It's your boy Bryce Lewis back at it again for another Believe in Hawks episode. Hawks lose the first one out of the All-Star break to the Orlando Magic, 114-108, and a very frustrating loss for the Atlanta Hawks. There's two sides of this. Officiating is one, which we'll get into, but the Hawks also had some bad habits that have hurt them throughout games of this season, rear its ugly head once again, plus ineffectiveness at the rim when they're taking shots. And that led to Orlando being able to play the type of game they wanted, which they were able to win. And now the Hawks have more ground to make up as now Orlando gains a full game on the Hawks as the Hawks are currently in the 8th seed and now have to get ready for Detroit in another huge game at State Farm where you have to win, where you probably need to win that game, realistically. So we obviously will go into the breakdown of the game. I appreciate you guys tuning in for another episode. If you enjoyed the episode, subscribe to the channel, like the video. Appreciate all love from you guys. Audio listeners do the same thing. Leave a rating, leave a review on the pod. Like I said, appreciate all you guys obviously tuning in and showing some support for you boys. So, like I said, man, we're gonna go ahead and dive right into it. So, this game was a game, like I said, that you had two sides of it, officiating and then the Hawks' mistakes. Hawks came out this game, played really, really good energy defensively, good ball movement, and you're like, all right, Hawks might be able to, and obviously it's the NBA. We've seen so many times in this game, teams got the big leads and teams come back, but you at least felt better about what you were seeing. And then just Orlando just made it an ugly game, which also was in part because of the Hawks and also in part because of officiating. So that led to the Hawks getting behind by a half, and then they just never were able to truly get back control of the game. They were able to tie it up in the fourth quarter, but then Orlando hit two big shots, went on a 9-0 run, and pretty much, or 8-0 run, and pretty much sealed the deal for the Hawks tonight. So obviously a very frustrating loss for a lot of people watching this game tonight. And so I usually like to start with this first because I just like to get out of the way before we get to the actual game itself. Officiating tonight was terrible. They lost control of the game in that third, fourth quarter, especially the fourth quarter, beginning of the fourth. Just terrible. And it benefited Orlando. It benefited Orlando tonight. And it was frustrating to watch. It was one of those ones where, it really wasn't even the whole officiating crew. It was really one official. And I think that really was the issue. John Conley is the name of the ref in tonight's game. My good friend Glenn Willis had a tweet about all the fouls that each referee had for each team. Kevin Scott, the crew chief, had 7. He called 7 on the Magic, 5 on the Hawks. Natalie Segoe called 5 on the Magic, 4 on the Hawks. John Conley called a total of 26 fouls. 9 on the Magic. He called 17 on the Hawks. So it was really one official who was very much giving Orlando the advantage in this game. I mean, literally, like I said, very frustrating to watch what you saw. They gave 3 quick fouls to Trae. People were upset about it. Felt like every time Orlando got into the paint and drove, they were getting a lot of calls. George Niang kind of was like making fun of Paolo tonight, given the body motions of what he's doing, because he's like, dude, these are not fouls. He's just moving his body around like he's getting fouled, and y'all calling it. But then the Hawks were very frustrated because they felt like a lot of teams do in a lot of games. We're doing the same thing at the other end, and you're not calling it. And so there's not an even amount of officiating. And then especially like I just mentioned with the numbers that John Conley benefited the Magic tonight really hurt the Hawks. I mean, the Hawks, and it plays into the Magic style because then they can play a more physical basketball game because they know they can get away with more. And I think, again, that's where I think frustration kind of builds for a team when you go through a game where you feel like an official is not calling the game down the middle. And obviously, like I said, I'm not going to get into rigged conversations or anything, but I mean, I think you saw it across social. If you were on social tonight, and even if you weren't, a lot of people were complaining about it. They're just like, what is this? Like, what are we watching? Officials have lost control of this game. It got really chippy. There was a lot of barking between the two teams. And usually, sometimes referees make a statement by calling fouls on both teams and saying, listen, y'all need to calm down. But it felt like it never turned into that. It felt like it was just, the calls didn't feel, I didn't feel like there was construction to the calls. There was constructiveness. It felt like they were just calling. And so then the problem is that it felt like it was on the Hawks more. So that it looked like, okay, they're leaning in a certain direction. The Hawks were in the penalty 3-4 minutes into the fourth quarter. The Hawks challenged a play that a lot of people think, realistically, they're going to say the knee contact, but some people are like, still don't know if that really should have been called. Because realistically, I always feel like with fouls like that, I mean, Trae's moving himself laterally. If Paolo is crossing and then his knee hits Trae's knee, I mean, you could call it, sure, of course. But it's not like he swung his knee into Paolo's knee and then they made contact. Trae was going in the opposite direction and Paolo's knee just hit Trae's knee when he was crossing over. You could have easily no-called that. You could have. And, it's just one of those things where that plays a big part. Because I have seen some of the ugliest officiated games with the Hawks this year. And the Hawks usually come out on the losing end of those games. Let's just be honest. Usually in terribly officiated games, the Hawks, 3 games that I remember. Tonight's game, the Knicks game, the third Knicks game, and then I don't want to say the Milwaukee game. It was another game, though, that was really badly officiated. But the point is, officials were terrible tonight, especially Conley. He was terrible tonight. Completely was favoring the Magic. And so that really played a big part in why the Hawks were not able to get anything going. Right? So that's that. Now, going into the actual play on the court. The Hawks lost this game tonight because of missed free throws and missed 2-point shots. That's just as simple as I can put it to you. That pretty much sealed the deal for the Hawks tonight. Pretty much kept them from being able to come back in this game. So I'll give you some stats. And Brad Rowland mentioned it in this game. Trae Young tonight, if I could find it, he mentioned it. Trae Young tonight was really good from the 2-point line, but a lot of other guys weren't. They shot 43% from 2 tonight. That's not good. You basically, and the thing is, in terms of true shooting percentage, the Hawks finished below 50%. The Hawks are 1-9 in games where they shoot below 50% in terms of the true shooting stat. Right? Now, in the actual game itself, the Hawks shot 39% from the field. They got 15 more shots than Orlando and shot 39% from the field, where Orlando almost shot 50%. And that's been something that we've seen. I think the last Knicks games where you also saw a little bit of this, where they had easy looks, missed them, missed free throws. Tonight, easy looks, missed them, free throws. And it's frustrating. Dyson did not have a great offensive game tonight. He was missing a lot of shots around the rim. LeVert was struggling offensively in the first 3 quarters. It was just one of those things where, really in this game, the Hawks were struggling to really get offense from other guys outside of Trae. Now, obviously, when it was all said and done, their second highest leading scorer was LeVert with 13. You got 11 from Ricochet, which some people may argue maybe she could have finished the game. Kagu gave you 11. Dyson did give you 10. But it's one of those things where you definitely was not good. And then you got the return of Clint Capella, and I'm just going to be honest, Clint Capella stunk offensively tonight. I mean, and that's something that's not new, but, I mean, he had some looks tonight, and he just was bricking them. Now, he hasn't played in a month, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt The man has not played in almost a whole month. He hasn't played in a few weeks. So could be extremely rusty trying to come back. But I mean, he did not help offensively. Now, he did some good work defensively against Paulo and them. So I will give him credit for that. But he didn't do great work offensively in this game. Barlow played 7 minutes in this game. Clint played 18. Barlow gave you 5 points in 7 minutes. Again, Clint's values defensively, but like when he comes back to the rotation, it's one of those things where like he is such a enigma for the Hawks because when you lose him, the rebounding and rim protection and guarding bigs becomes more evident with the team with their struggles, right? But when he plays, the misses, the hook shot misses, the round the rim misses just become more evident when he's on the floor. And so it's like either or. The only way you're gonna like him is if he's making those shots and he's playing good defense. If he's not, it's like, dude, why are you on the floor? And so, I mean, the Hawks, really have to just figure out better ways to generate offense. And the thing about them right now, and this is somebody mentioned this, and this is true, the Hawks don't generate a lot of easy offense because they don't have as many natural scorers of the basketball. Trae Young and probably Chris LeVert are your most natural scorers of the basketball. Everybody else is pretty much, within the system, like Dyson's becoming more aggressive and trying to become more of a natural scorer of the basketball. But obviously he's not at that point yet. So he's going to give you games where he'll give you 16, 17, 18 points and give you a good offensive performance. But he'll have games like he has tonight where he'll struggle from the field. Because that's just the Dyson Daniels offensive game. Richiche, even though he's continued to still play well in the minutes he's been given, even tonight with him, you've seen especially when the Magic were able to play physical, they were able to strip down on Richiche. They were able to create turnovers. They were able to make it difficult for him at the rim. Richiche did not shoot the best efficiency from the field tonight. And, again, when they pulled Richiche out of the fourth quarter, it was after, I think he had a bad turnover where the ball, I don't know what happened there. I don't know if he just wasn't ready for it or what. Just turnover, which is big. And then I think he missed a shot on the previous possession before that. And then that's what he pulled him. And, you kind of noticed that like Quinn will do that with some players where it's like, all right, you've just had a couple of strings of not good possessions. Let me go ahead and pull you because we're trying to win the game. Right. But like I said, right now, his closing lineups are pretty much Trae, Dyson, LeVert, Niang, and Okongwu. And that probably will be the closing rotation he will go with. If anything, he may swap Niang for Richiche, and that's where the swapping can go there. Which, I mean, I'm sure, like I said, some fans want that to start being the closing lineup moving forward. But Hawks just offensively tonight did not do a good job. Missed free throws tonight. And that, just like I said, was not good for the team if they wanted to try to pull this out. Hawks also lost the fast break battle by 12. That also helped Orlando get into some offense because they were able to get easy fast break buckets, and the Hawks were getting beat in that area. Because overall, Orlando only had 14-10 in terms of points off turnovers tonight. But in saying that, the Hawks only turned the ball over 9 times. So if you're seeing fast break, that's coming off a lot of misses. Orlando was able to attack the Hawks in transition tonight and take advantage and get easy looks. And so that obviously created an issue, obviously, for the team as well. Because like I said, if you look at the stats, Hawks shot better from 3. Hawks only had 9 turnovers. They had 20 assists. They had more offensive rebounds. But the Hawks also had 4 technical fouls tonight. One was a 3-second violation. Trae got teed up. Man got teed up. And Niang got teed up because of officiating, which is where you get into the lost control of the game thing and whatever. So it was a combination of both of those things that really hurt them tonight. And it's tough. Like I said, it's a frustrating loss because of especially that first quarter when the Hawks played as well as they did. you just were like, all right, you're going against a bad offensive team. They're struggling offensively. You seem to be going, okay, cool. And then the game just flipped in that second quarter, and the Magic were just able to control the game. Paolo and Franz continue to do their thing. And the thing about Orlando is that what they're playing like is they're playing like the Miami Heat teams that made the finals. And I'm not saying that that's how they're playing in terms of like they're going to be that team, but that's how they have to win games. They just have to make it ugly. And then you have two scorers. Luckily for them, they have two guys who can put the ball in the basket, and Franz and Paolo. And if it gets an ugly game and then they can get going offensively, that's when they're going to be at their best. And then if they can get an extra offense from a Cole Anthony or a KCP or whoever else, that just makes it, that just increases their chances. And tonight they were making an ugly game with the Hawks, and they were able to get their best guys to score, and they were able to take advantage. And so definitely something that Hawks have to, look back into and figure out, okay, how can we improve this? And like I said, the biggest thing that you are looking at for the Hawks is just, in a lot of these games moving forward is going to be the offense. Because Trae's started to up his offensive output in the last 6-7 games. So I think outside of a couple, he's pretty much had 30 in 6 of the last 8 or 9 games. So he's upping his scoring. Obviously, this is around the time you probably need Trae Young to up his scoring. But you're going to need someone else to come with him, and the Hawks have to figure out who is it. Is it LeVert? Is LeVert the guy who's going to come with Trae on the offensive end? Is it going to be a Kongu? Is it going to be Dyson? Who is it? Because they need it if they're going to win some of these games. So, like I said, frustrating loss from that regard, but, we're going to do what we can. We're going to do what we can. So, if we go into the player performances tonight, though, like I said, Trae Young, 38 points tonight, 3 rebounds, 6 assists. Obviously, in the first game against Orlando, he really didn't have a great game till that fourth quarter, in terms of offensively. This game, he was much more active offensively in this game and everything. And obviously, that's good to see. Again, you need his offense. But, even with that, he did have the highest negative on the floor for all the starters with -7. And he had, 5 turnovers tonight. And, I think overall, we know what Trae has to do for the team to be successful. And Trae Young has to continue to go out there and, kind of get back to a 30-10 guy right now for them, especially with the way this team is organized. So they're going to probably need this continuously from him. Obviously, you always hate feeling like you wasted a really good offensive player's offensive performance, especially when he had a nearly 40-point game tonight. I mean, even against the Knicks, he had 36 in 18? So, I mean, it was one of those things where you've gotten some really strong games from him recently. It's just Knicks game you were able to get off of support. This game you weren't to the same extent. Dyson tonight struggled a lot offensively. 3 of 15 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3, 4 of 6 on the line. Had a double-double, 10 and 11. Dyson's been very active on the boards, which I think he's made more of an effort over the last couple of weeks to be more of a helper on the boards for guys like a Kongu and them, just because, he'll help in that regard. But this was one of those games where after hearing about how he's played recently, and people have had discussions about it on social about how Dyson has played, this is a game where, again, this is just part of the Dyson Daniels experience. And I think he still does a lot of other things good for this team, but tonight he just didn't have it going for him offensively. And so you obviously want him to bounce back next game and hopefully have a stronger offensive performance moving forward. But, this was a game that hurt for him not to really play well offensively for them, because he definitely was a guy that you could say, hey, if he could continue what he was doing, I mean, if he had 16 points tonight, this would be a tie ball game, and we'd be going in overtime, technically. So, obviously, like I said, with Dyson, how it could be a every other given game basis. So, you obviously hope he bounces back next game. Kongu 11 and 7 got to some foul trouble in this game. It's a hard guard for him, obviously, guarding guys like Paolo, guarding guys like Franz. They were attacking the rim. Obviously, the way the game was being called wasn't in his favor, but still played 30 minutes tonight. You know, obviously, you kind of maybe wish could have gave you a little bit more offensively, but overall, Chicago, I think, did what they wanted him to do tonight. And, obviously they knew a lot of their energy was expended on the defensive end guarding those guys, especially even Wandale Carter as well. So, Conley did whatever. Like I said, Ricochet tonight, 11 and 12, double for him, and also, I mean, you could make an argument. It's not, I don't want to say it's not ideal, but like your two top rebounders were your shooting guard and in this rotation, your three. So your two and your three had the most rebounds. And then your starter in front court of Okongwu and Gay had 9. Like I said, I'm glad they're helping on the boards, but obviously you probably want those guys to be more active on that end. And Capella only had 4 too, so still didn't even have more than those guys. But like I said, Ricochet, I think tonight offensively, 4-15 from the field. You're probably looking at it, not a great game. Had some stretches of basketball where it was kind of sloppy for him. Had that bad turnover late in the fourth quarter. But he also did some good things in this game. He hit 3 threes tonight. So again, Ricochet, it's just you kind of saw some good play of Ricochet, but you also saw some of the still what he needs to work on, having a stronger dribble, being stronger with the ball, things like that. Orlando was able to take advantage of that. That's why I think physical games are kind of like when you play a team that's going to be very physical with Ricochet. I think those are the games where Quinn has to really be like, okay, do I go with him more? Because you know that he doesn't have the strongest and tightest dribble in the world. And so teams can take advantage of that. And Orlando was able to do that at times tonight. So, but even with that, I think Ricochet still, again, which I've said all year, has still been able to be effective, even with some of the challenges that he's faced offensively this season. So I'm not looking at this as like, oh my God, Ricochet, this, and that. I'm viewing this from a perspective as like, hey, they did what they could tonight. They competed, and you just kind of go out there and you just kind of, let them continue to grow through it. So, we'll see what happens as the season moves forward. Ricochet, Bo Gay tonight only played 15 minutes tonight. The big thing with him, and in the first few games before the break, Gay was taking a lot of threes. Tonight, you could clearly see he was hesitant to take offense. I wonder if Quinn talked to him and was just like, listen, if you're not, I mean, it's weird because Quinn gives people the green light, but I felt like Gay was really not trying to take as many shots tonight. Obviously, he wasn't hitting the three ball tonight, but obviously at the same time, if you're Gay, it's like, listen, brother, if you're going to be a starter for us right now, you're not going to you want to get more minutes to the floor, brother, you got to give me some offense. Because yes, he helps with the defense. He helps with the shot blocking. That is true for Gay, but you got to make yourself a threat offensively. Make the defense have to defend you. And so that's going to be the Gay progression here. Because it looks like this rate, he will be the starter for the rest of the year. It looks like Gay is on this roster, and he will be playing. And this will be great for his development. Obviously, this is also coming at a very crucial time for the Hawks. So, this isn't beginning of the season where you're like, all right, let's just see how things kind of go. It's like, all right, we're kind of needing you in a very crucial time. Obviously, if he plays well, he'll get more minutes. If he doesn't, he'll get less minutes. This was a game in the last couple of games where he hasn't played that great, and so he's gotten less minutes. So Gay could really be an X factor for this team if he could just get his offensive game going. LeVert had 13 points tonight. The biggest thing with LeVert, he's been struggling at the line. He's missed some free throws in the next game. He only made 1 free throw tonight. LeVert got to make some free throws. Got to, man. Like, because the thing is LeVert can get to the rim and he can get calls. But you got to complete those 3-point plays. You got to take advantage of when you're at the line. It going 1 of 4 tonight, that's adding into why the Hawks are struggling from the free throw line. I mean, because he basically almost shot 50% from the field tonight. He didn't hit any threes, but those free throws would have been big for the Hawks tonight if he hit those. And so that's the biggest thing with LeVert, because LeVert is showing you the type of scorer he can be. He just needs to be better at the free throw line, because if he's going to attack the rim, I don't want it to be like an adventure, like he's attacking the rim and I don't want him at the line. But outside of that, I think he's growing more accustomed. And obviously, getting more comfortable in that ball handling role with Trae when he's on the floor with him, and being able to still kind of take some pressure off of Trae Young. George Niang tonight, not the best offensive game tonight. Only hit 2 threes tonight. Hit 2 free throws, 8, 6, and 2. Niang is going to give you some games like you got against the Knicks, and he'll give you some games tonight like he gave you. Again, his biggest thing is just hit some threes, create spacing, just give effort, know your assignments, and be a veteran. And that's what I think they want from Niang. And then when he can give you more, obviously as a crafty veteran, that obviously can be big for you too. Terrence Mann tonight, 7 points, 3 assists, 3 or 5 from the field. Obviously, we have to keep in mind Terrence Mann is not brought in here to score a bunch. I'd say you want him closer to 10 points or right at 10 points in a lot of these games if you can get that from him. I think he's still getting comfortable, obviously, but at the same time, just being aggressive. Just being aggressive with the ball in your hands, attack the rim. You have offensive talent. I'm not saying you're gifted scoring or anything like that, but you can put the ball in the basket and then obviously impacting the game from a defensive end. And that's what they really brought him in here for the Hawks. Capella, as I mentioned, god awful tonight, 1 of 6. He looked like he ain't played in a while. The problem is people are gonna be like, I mean, Clint don't look good offensively anyway. But I mean, he looked bad tonight. And that hurt the Hawks. I really do think that hurt the Hawks. He had the second highest plus minus of any bench player tonight. So with a -7. So kind of need more. And like I said, Barlow was able to get a quick run because of the foul trouble Niang got into tonight. He gave you 5 points and 7 minutes. And I've said, listen, they probably won't do it, but I have advocated, like, listen, you might need to try some Barlow minutes if Capella continues to struggle offensively, just because Barlow is a little bit more fluid offensively for them. The issue is, though, he's on a 2-way, so for postseason reasons, they would have to convert him to an NBA contract, which they have a spot. And I've said in my last video, if the Hawks were going to convert either him or Keaton Walls, it probably should be Barlow, because that's where you really need him more, or in terms of if you need that depth. But like I said, tonight Hawks shot 40% from the field, 68% from the free throw line. Only had 9 turnovers and 20 assists, but missing free throws, bad 2-point shots, just not making those tonight, not scoring around the rim, and then a bad officiating were the stories of this game and cost the Hawks the win in a game that was pretty important. Now, I've said the Hawks need to win 3 of 4. They've lost the 1. They got to win the next 3. So Detroit obviously is the best team you're playing out of the 3 of these teams that you're playing in the next 4. So, that's that. If you win that game, that obviously will make you feel good, but you definitely need it if you're gonna get there. So we'll have to see what happens, man. Hawks play again Sunday evening and then play Monday night. So back-to-back at State Farm. So big 2-game set coming up this weekend for the Hawks. Get 2 days off. Try to, fix some things, figure out some things, and get ready for Detroit on Sunday. So we'll see what happens. But obviously, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in for another episode of Believe in Hawks. If you like the episode, subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment down below. Audio listeners, leave a rating and leave a review. Tell your friends about Believe in Hawks. I appreciate all y'all for tuning in and letting me be part of your day. It's your boy, Bryce Lewis. See you next time.